Will the baseball season be canceled? Can it possibly happen? I don't know. Is everybody cheating? I don't know. Logan Morrison says he thinks so. All of that and more on the Baseball Talk Radio Show with Rich and Gary. I'm Gary Mack. He's Rich Baxter, and Rich,
Hello.
we're doing this on Skype today, and your background looks a little bit different. It looks like you're in a car somewhere.
Yes, it is Gary Mack. How you doing? I'm on vacation, heading down to spring training, as I was saying on the last show. So I'm taking you guys along with me. And today I find myself in Charleston, South Carolina. Very nice town. Never been here before. On my way down to spring training, if there is a spring training, as you said. I'm very concerned every day. I was just listening to MLB radio coming here, parking to do the show with you, and God, it's unprecedented. As a few of the players have been saying, we're in uncharted territory. We don't know what's going to happen from day to day, and that's the truth. As the hours change, everything is changing.
It certainly is, and very strange indeed. Um, Seattle is looking to play at least the beginning of their games till the end of March in Seattle. I'm sorry, in Arizona, simply because Seattle passed, or Washington State, I should say, passed an ordinance that you can't have gatherings of more than 250 people. So they're looking to play in Arizona. The NBA has suspended their season until further notice now because one of their players is tested positive. No Major League Baseball player has tested positive as of yet, but this is a serious thing. And the thing about it is we've had worse situations than this. Don't know why this is getting all the press, but at least this country acted on it by ordering an embargo on travel and stopping travel to those countries. So they've cut that down a little bit. But it's a bit of a mess, and it leaves a lot of uncertainty about the beginning of the season.
Yeah, San Francisco the same way. I believe they banned play through the month of March. So the Giants are looking as well as a temporary solution to this issue. And thank goodness they haven't canceled spring training yet, because that would just be my luck on the morning that I get there. Okay, fellas, wrap it up. We're gonna cancel it.
I,
For the
I
first time probably in a long time.
Well, I know you get tickets already, but what I would do as soon as I hit Clearwater, I head over and get a ticket for another game just to guarantee that you get a game in because you never know. And from the looks of things, there are tickets available. Seats are not as the stadium, I should say. There's a lot of empty seats showing up. I watched the Dodgers and the oh God, who did they play? The Brewers last night, and later on I watched the Padres and the Mariners, and there were a lot of empty seats around. So I don't know if that's any indication or what, but it's a scary situation.
Yes, and of course the president coming on the news last night, telling us of tremendously changing travel restrictions on Europe. 30-day ban as of Friday from any European country uh, outside of the UK. So this is getting more and more serious. Of course, the World Health Organization declared this now a pandemic, and now all of a sudden um, it's taken on a new priority with a lot of folks. But we'll have to see. We'll have to monitor each day as it happens, there's still plenty of travelers out here in the East Coast, southern U.S. Anyway, I see a lot of travelers. I'm sure there could be a lot more. A lot more people are staying home, but yeah, definitely a game changer, so to speak, for what's going on with baseball.
Yeah, certainly. And, speaking of travelers, we got an email this week from one of those travelers that was out in Arizona before all of this stuff hit the fan. And that's Jeff Cohen. And he was out in Arizona to visit his son, who is a student manager for the Arizona State's baseball team. And he went to 6 of the spring training sites out in Arizona, and he sent a little email to give us a little breakdown. It's kind of long, so I don't know if I'll read the the whole thing, but he did manage to go to the Diamondbacks training site that they share with the Colorado Rockies, and he noticed that Madison Bumgarner is a bit of a prima donna. He didn't participate in the drills, and after all the drills were completed, he just left. He was the first one out of the complex. The security guard told me he's always the first to leave the facility. Some of the pitches when coaches were taking pictures and talking with the fans, but Bumgarner was not around. So that's an interesting thing. He went to the Angels camp. He was happy to see Anthony Rendon in an Angels uniform and out of the NL East. And he said the Giants were very tight. You were regulated to the seats in the stadium and only a few sections at that. You were not allowed to venture into the back fields where the players were practicing. And you have to wonder if part of that is due to this coronavirus. It was just starting when he was down there. That was a couple of weeks ago. And he said the Cubs have a magnificent facility in Mesa, tremendous complex, lots of fans. And I was able to take a picture with Lou Piniella, who works for the Cubs. And he says the Dodgers and the White Sox share a spring training facility in Glendale. He did go to the Dodgers side. He said Tommy Lasorda, he was there, talked to him a little bit. And he said the security was very tight at Diamondbacks and Giants facility as their metal detectors. And the exhibition games hadn't even begun when he was there. So he was there early in spring training. But we asked for a little spring training report, and there we go. One from Arizona. Thank you, Jeff. I'm sorry I cut it short and paraphrased it. But we're on a time limit today because Rich has got something lined up there on his vacation, and he deserves to do that. So, but thanks for the email. And he does a terrific job with his buddy Len in Baseball and Barbecue podcast. So go check that out whenever you can. It's a great podcast covering baseball and barbecue. But there's a little report from Arizona. And, Rich, I guess it's not much different in Florida. We'll be finding that out from you, hopefully, in the next episode.
Not much different at all. I did hear from a few folks down there, and one in particular sent an email to me. He wondered if I would be modifying my travel plans due to the virus, and he himself was wondering if he should do that as well. So, yes, there's great concern, and my advice to him was, let your conscience be your guide, so to speak. You have to follow that. And I'm not sure what he's decided, but I told him I'm still on the way down. I'm going to still go through with the nice trip that I had planned out. And unless it's canceled by the MLB, I will be there. So that listener, he knows who he is. And I appreciate the email. I don't want to say his name, but he goes down to spring training every year in Florida. And I hope to bump elbows with him, possibly.
Now, did you notice anything on the train, on the plane at all? Any different procedures you had to go through? They take your temperature or anything like that?
Not at all. Now, that's a common misnomer that I've heard, and I heard, don't go on a plane because, you're going to get your temperature taken. No, absolutely not. It's business as usual for now. You just want to take your hand sanitizer, your wipes if you're going on a trip, wipe your area down, and use precaution. This is an epidemic or a pandemic now, but it can be managed. You can take necessary precautions to help yourself out. So don't segregate yourself to a life of staying in the house. Even though for some people that might be a good idea. If you're not well, if you have underlying conditions, by all means, yes, do take every precaution. Stay home, stay away from people, because you're most at risk. So that would be good advice for anybody that is in that very high risk area.
I think that's excellent advice, and I think those are the ones that should be watching it. I know we are staying at home. My wife happens to fit into that high risk area. She has a compromised immune system, so we kind of watch it, not going out into crowds as much and everything. Because you just never know, but it's a funny thing, and I'm just wondering if they cancel the start of the season, if they would consider pushing it back till say April, or take off 6 game, play 156 game season. I mean, there are probably ways they could do it. They could probably start in April, and because of the coronavirus, they could probably get away with playing double headers, though it would wreak havoc with the schedules. But I don't think we all realize how the effect of this is. Now we just say, well, they cancel a few ball games, but then what you're doing is you're taking all of these promotional dates they have scheduled, and they have to reschedule those. And then if the stadium's closed, all of those people, the ushers, the vendors that get paid on that day, they're not going to have a job for those days that the stadiums are closed. And so I guess the difference with baseball is you're outside, so I don't know if that affects it any differently. I heard a doctor say last night about the NBA, and one of the reasons they closed was because of they're in a locker room and it's sweaty and everything else, and not that baseball isn't, but they're also a lot of close contact when they're sweating and stuff on the court. So they felt, how are you can't sanitize everything. So that was one reason that they looked at it. But I don't know. It is an outdoor sport. I don't know if that means anything different. There's not usually a lot of contact per se, unless it's just, team members high-fiving and that sort of thing, or in the clubhouse. But I don't know. I guess we're just going to have to wait and see, as you said.
Yeah, that's all we can do. Take one day at a time, and I think we'll get through this. We've gotten through everything else that's been thrown at us, and I believe I heard a quote in the past day that the last epidemic type of virus to come out of Asia, there was a lot more deaths before it was eventually solved. And unfortunately, yeah, that seems to be the way it goes sometimes. But with this virus, it seems like we're taking a lot more early precautions than we did the last time. I don't remember all this, the last epidemic there was with the viruses and things like that. So we're more prepared this time, it seems like to me.
Well, that's a political discussion that we won't get into.
or the information is getting to people this time, and it seems like more people are aware of it. That's just my observation. Maybe the last one I wasn't as concerned at all. That could be true too.
No, the last big one I believe was the swine flu, and they said that there was 1,000 deaths in our country before we acted on anything. So when this, I don't want to get political, but when this president came in, he started a I forget what they called it, but it's sort of a task force for these kind of things to get ahead of the curve on them and everything. And like I said, as soon as this really started breaking and they knew it was coming from China, they shut down the air, from coming over, the travel ban. So and now another travel ban in Europe, because Europe has got a lot of cases. Italy's got like 10,000 cases, I think. Spain has like 3,000, and they're not really doing anything about it. They're letting people travel and whatnot. So at least we're acting on that. But as I said, that's another issue for another show. And Rich, it wouldn't be a baseball show in 2020 if we didn't have a cheating story, now would it?
No, it would not. Who's cheating now?
Well, Logan Morrison of the Seattle Mariners says more or less that everyone is cheating. The Milwaukee Brewers first baseman wrote in a since deleted Instagram post, somebody got to him, saying that he believes other teams have been guilty of the similar infractions. I know from firsthand accounts that the Yankees, Dodgers, Astros, and Red Sox all have used film to pick signs, he wrote, per New Jersey Advanced Media's Brendan Cootie. Just want you guys to know the truth. I personally think it's a tool in a tool belt to pick signs, but if we're going to be punishing people for it, don't half-ass it. So I guess he's kind of saying if you're going to punish them, punish them. But everybody's doing it anyway, and as he says, a tool in a tool belt. So should we let everybody do it or not? And we've speculated about this. This has been going on for a long time, and that the Astros can't be the only team that's doing it.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. And 2020 will be a season that will be scrutinized like no other. We've seen that over the past couple of years with people knowing that something was wrong with the Astros and nothing was done about it. But now that something's been done about it, we're going to be hypersensitive to this and possibly be better to spot things like this if they occur. Now, I'm not thinking that it's so widespread on a basis like the Astros had it. Baseball, you can take advantage of things like we've said on this show. You've said it. If a pitcher's tipping pitches, that's not cheating. It's called taking advantage of a situation. So you have to draw a line between what's actually described as cheating and what's part of the game.
And I think the irony in what he's talking about here is that he mentioned specifically the Yankees and the Dodgers, and they have been two of the biggest teams complaining the most about the Astros. So wouldn't it be ironic if they were also found to be cheating? And, that's why I think people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. Don't complain unless you're not doing it yourself.
That's for sure. So
Nope.
we'll have coverage of this throughout the season, if there is a season. And getting back to that, the MLB is already issuing advice to teams that they would prefer the teams still played the games in alternate locations. So if your team is affected, and the whole league is affected for that matter, the MLB is saying now that they hope that the season will go on as planned in alternate locations, whatever that may mean. But they can't really, either they're going to postpone or shorten the season to a certain extent. If they have to move games, they can't push them any deeper into the year. We're already until late October, early November. So either the games are going to be played somewhere or their season's going to be shortened. So getting back to that, it's going to still play an interesting part in the 2020 season.
It certainly is. And how many alternate spots can you play? I mean, you're talking about 15 games you've got to find alternate spots for, 30 games actually, because if you can't play in the other guy's park, and what's going to be the criteria? I mean, is it okay to play in Florida, but it's not okay to play in New York? I mean, I don't know what the criteria is. I know people look forward to opening day. That's the big crowd day. I don't know. I don't know what you do. I know the Mets they open on a Thursday. They're off on a Friday. They have big events scheduled for Saturday and Sunday of opening weekend, big bobblehead giveaways. And, it sounds a little silly, but those are big giveaways. People love to get the bobbleheads. It's a big crowd, and it's on a weekend also. So what happens then if they have to start the season in, I don't know, Miami or something? And then where does Miami play? They're not playing one another. I don't know. It's a mess, but maybe it's a good time to take a break here, Rich, and talk a little bit about the Baseball Talk radio show. And people can support the show by going to anchor.fm/Baseball Talk radio show, and there's a support button right on that page. Hit that. Try to, whatever you can give is be very helpful to the show, help us grow the show. And maybe if we raise enough money, Rich, I can join you next year at spring training.
That would be awesome, and I'll put it on my calendar now because I kind of like this, and I like the journey that I took with it as well. So, yeah, we'll put that down and hope our listeners can support us. Come on to the anchor.fm site and hit the support button right there, and you'll send Gary and I down to spring training next year.
And Rich, again, I know we're on a bit of a time schedule today. I don't want to hang you up too badly, but I want to get this story in, and it's now you got to pay attention to this, baby. The Charleston River Dogs, the Yankees single-A affiliate in the South Atlantic League, quickly pulled a promotion dubbed OJ Trial Night that was scheduled for May 26th. The minor league team announced its promotional calendar for the 2020 season and received heavy backlash over the promotion it claimed would present a juicy spin on the murder trial that captivated the world 25 years ago. The trial of the century gets a juicy new spin. We will finally receive the verdict that everybody has been waiting for. Pulp or no pulp? The River Dogs' original promotional release stated fans will act as our jury, voting with custom paddles to reach verdicts on various topics throughout the night. The eyes of the nation will be upon us. Fans will receive an OJ trial shirt upon entering the stadium. If the shirt don't fit, you must see if we have a different size. So they're having a different bunch of topics, but they're calling it the OJ Trial Night, and it did not go over well. They had a lot of criticism about this, and we had a couple a few years ago, if you remember, that were a little bit wacky and sort of on the bad taste side. Promotions that were pulled. It's original, but I don't know why some of these minor leagues continue to try to do these kind of things.
Yeah, you had to know this one would get pulled. But yeah, they're wacky, zany, designed to make a maximum impact on the listener and the promotions wherever they're going to promote this. And you got to give them an A for effort on it, but yeah, not in the best taste, of course. Something that just, I don't want to say it gives a bad light to minor league baseball, but they crossed just one too many lines. But I think it's great that they try it, at least. With the MLB, those things would never even see the light of day. They wouldn't print one poster about something like that with that, but
No,
Yeah, that's
yeah, I agree 100%. It's they you got to give them an A for effort. They're certainly creative. I think just sometimes it just you just have to wonder is somebody not overseeing it though and saying, you know what, it's a great idea, pulp or no pulp. I know the juice thing, but
yeah.
maybe it's not in the best of taste. So, um, I guess they floated, and somebody must have said, "Hey, that's a great idea."
And that's a nice pulp type of thing they floated. So,
Yeah, right.
what's your choice? Pulp or no
No
pulp?
pulp.
No
Exactly.
pulp.
But they wanted to play off of the whole O.J. Simpson thing, and probably not the best topic to play off of. But they canceled it now, so it's a memory of the past. But as we know, anything that's put on the internet nowadays is never gone away. You can delete it, but somebody's going to copy it, and it's going to be there forever.
That's for sure. And if you're watching our video version, I'm going in and out here because apparently I can't surf while I'm doing the show on my phone. But I wanted to bring up our final topic of this week's show, Gary, and my tour boat is about ready to leave for Charleston Harbor soon, so we'll wrap it up sooner than we want to. But there's some major injuries around the MLB already, despite the season not being possibly able to start on time and things like that. Max Scherzer of the Nationals is on the day-to-day. Michael Conforto, your Mets,
Mm-hmm.
um, possibly missing some time. Chris Sale, all these multi-million-dollar players. Justin Verlander, over at the Indians, Mike Clevenger, and across the river in the Bronx there, Aaron Judge from the Yankees with a rib injury. Miles Mikolas on the Cardinals. Cole Hamels with the Braves this year, signed with the Braves on the off season. So there's some big names that are going to be possibly sidelined to start this season.
Yeah, it looks like Giancarlo Stanton as well with the Yankees, and they lost two pitchers. James Paxton has had some sort of back surgery, so he's going to miss the start of the season. And Luis Severino, is out for the year. So as you say, a lot of big name stars injured going into the season, might miss some time, and maybe that's a chance for some teams to try to load up on some wins early in the year if they can, and hang on. Like remember the old Atlanta Braves? They had a 1 year they won their first 16 or 18 games or something, and hung on to win the division. They had a big lead, and they were getting chased down, and they just made it to win the division. Forget what year that was. I think Joe Torre was their manager then. But yeah, lots of big names, and we'll see how how it all works out.
Sounds like a plan. Well, we appreciate you listening to this edition of the Baseball Talk Radio Show with Rich Baxter and Gary Mack. Why don't we tell the folks where they can find us on the web, Gary?
Well, Rich, they can find us all over the place. You can find us at Apple Podcasts, Castbox, Overcast. Our home is at anchor.fm/Baseball Talk Radio Show. Google Play. We're on Google Play. You can check us out there as well. Pretty much any of your favorite podcast app that you may have on your phone that you use, you can find the show at that. So go check it out today and subscribe, so that way you know when a new show comes out, because sometimes we do get a little sporadic with our work lives and whatnot. So, but we try to be as best as we can getting the show out. But go check us out at all of those sites and subscribe, so you always know when a show comes out.
Very cool. And Gary, you and I are going to have to carve out some time for an on-location show. I'll give you some reports right from spring training. over the weekend and early next week, all through St. Patrick's Day. And I'll let you know what's going on there, and we'll do a show right from there. So
Sounds
looking
terrific.
forward to that as usual.
And certainly, and enjoy your cruise around Charleston Harbor, Rich, and to all our listeners out there, have a great week and be safe, be careful, wipe down, wash your hands, stay healthy, and we'll see you again the next time on another edition of the Baseball Talk Radio Show.